Bad Company, Private Equity and the Death of the American Dream. One. The Hook. It starts with a sports blog. A snarky, left-leaning, loyal crowd kind of place that made money and made sense, until private equity walked in. The new owners asked dumb questions not to learn, but to justify bad decisions. Within months, the editor was out, the staff followed, and the dream dissolved into another corporate carcass. So what does that actually mean? It means Deadspin was profitable but not extractable. Private equity doesn't look for healthy companies, it looks for veins to drain. That's where this story begins, but not where it ends. Because what happened to a sports site is now happening to hospitals, housing, media, and retail. Footnote. Private equity doesn't build value, it captures it, strips it, and leaves the shell behind. 2. The anatomy of extraction. Private equity operates by buying companies with borrowed money, loans that the company itself must repay. Picture someone buying your house with your own mortgage. The new owners take the furniture, the roof, and even charge you rent to stay inside. That's a leveraged buyout. Toys R Us was the textbook case. It was buried under $5 billion in debt, sold off its own real estate, and still owed rent for the land it once owned. Workers got no severance, the company died, and the firms behind it, KKR and Bain Capital, walked away with profit. So what does that actually mean? It means the American dream got financialized, the profits are private, but the losses are public. Footnote. In a leveraged buyout, profit depends on debt, not on the company's success. 3. The hospital hustle. Now imagine this logic applied to healthcare. In Wyoming, a private equity firm bought 2 small hospitals, merged their services, and called it efficiency. The result? No more maternity ward in one town. Mothers in labor now drive 30 miles through winter wind to deliver a baby, if they make it. Who profits from that? The same firm that owns the medevac company flying them out. That's not medicine, that's vertical integration of suffering. Footnote. When care becomes a commodity, even emergencies turn into a business model. 4. The media collapse. The same story echoes in journalism. Local newspapers, once guardians of accountability, became assets to be flipped. Staff were slashed, buildings sold, and what's left are ghost papers. They look alive but contain no journalists, only syndicated filler. So what does that actually mean? It means corruption rises when watchdogs are muzzled. Bond ratings fall. Taxes rise. Democracy dims. Footnote. The death of local media isn't just cultural, it's financial engineering disguised as cost-cutting. 5. The housing trap. Private equity discovered homes are better than gold, they produce rent. Firms now own mobile homes, suburban houses, even entire apartment complexes. They hike rents, delay repairs, and call it value creation. In one Virginia complex, a flood displaced 14 families. They were billed for rent anyway. When tenants protested, the leader was evicted. And the kicker? These firms finance purchases with low-interest government-backed loans meant for first-time homebuyers. Footnote. Private equity turned public housing policy into private gain, a quiet transfer of wealth from renters to financiers. 6. The political shield. How does this stay legal? Simple. 88% of Congress takes private equity money. Federal oversight is a ghost story, always talked about, never seen. The Stop Wall Street Looting Act exists, but it's treated like fantasy fiction on Capitol Hill. Some states, though, are stirring. Oregon and Massachusetts now scrutinize private equity in healthcare. Small progress, big symbolism. It's the civic version of We're Not Dead Yet. Footnote. When Washington sleeps, states sometimes wake up, but regulation remains a patchwork quilt. 7. The invisible empire. Private equity is everywhere but almost invisible. Workers often don't even know who owns their company until the layoffs hit. There's no registry, no real public data, only non-profits like the Private Equity Stakeholder Project trying to track the damage. The irony? These firms sell efficiency, but what they really deliver is entropy, more debt, fewer jobs, weaker communities. So what does that actually mean? It means the American dream didn't die naturally. It was bought, stripped, and resold by the highest bidder. Footnote. The most profitable business model in America today is dismantling other people's livelihoods. 8. The moral of the story. The four stories, Liz from Toys R Us, Roger the Wyoming nurse, Natalia the journalist, and Loren the tenant, aren't isolated tragedies. They're symptoms of the same disease, capitalism without conscience. But here's the twist, every one of them fought back. They spoke up, organized, and made their pain public. Maybe that's where hope still lives, not in the markets, but in the resistance. Footnote. What survives private equity isn't the company, it's the courage of those who refuse to stay silent.